was just left to try really hard. In one scene, you can see the conductor desperately trying to keep this show together, but he just looks so defeated.
You will sense that they want to slow down.
And the night is closing in.
And I either conducted a bit faster or slower, and we sort of did it together, and it's worked. I think it's really worked.
But the actors are singing, the piano player's doing their best with whatever the hell the actors are deciding to do, and that's how they got their take from Moana. Those numbers are literally, this is what I am, do on stage. And all of this was happening in the middle of takes. One part of a number could be played to a click track, while the next would be do for Les Mis.
The first time that Tom and I met
changes.
He's basically saying, yeah, in short, he's not completely wrong, but I feel like he's missed some really orchestral recording in post. Since all the actors basically didn't keep a beat, the orchestra had to do rhythmic backflips to keep up. It's agonizing to hear them describe what they're doing.
Normally, when you're composing film music, you keep the click either completely regular or with very few changes, so that the orchestra can use it as a simple thing to follow. In this film, because the actors are, made lots of choices about tempo, the conductor has to memorize these flows in tempo, and then the orchestra have to learn it.
It goes slightly faster on the downbeat of 66, then beats 3 and 4 is slightly slower.
Not to say it's the wrong way round, but it is. And we all learned how to do it, how to manipulate, to push, to drive, to breathe with the actors. At the end of a long day, this was the end of our third session we got, so that's sort of 7 hours later of play. We get to the People's Song. We played it sort of quite well, but we just didn't get into the moment, into the spirit of it, because we were a bit tired.
Just give them a breather, just give them a little. Yeah.
I need 2 minutes.
Yes, I know.
I can't go straight on that.
Do you need something? Do you want a drink? Do you want a cocktail?
Just give me 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes.
And Hooper and McIntosh were so oblivious to this entire process that they put all of this in the special features as if it was some kind of triumph. As if the orchestra managed to conquer some magnificent beast without realizing that they were the problem in the first place. This is the most quixotic thing I've ever seen in a film production since The Room, and I mean that. And it shows. Les Mis is a metric nightmare.
One day more, we will join these people's heroes. We will follow where they go. One day
And when it came to Cats, they dialed all this up to 11.
It's all about creating a frame where the actors got incredible freedom to make choices in the moment that bring alive the lyrics.
They even brought Simon Hayes back, who won an Oscar for his work on Les Mis, and rightly so. That was an insane amount of work that he had to do for Les Mis.
The first time that Tom and I met, he was talking to me about the honesty and the energy that you get from a live vocal recording. We've pioneered live vocal recordings on Les Mis, but this is Les Miserables on steroids.
In an article penned by the different audio leads on set discussing what they did to facilitate Hooper's expectations while working on Cats, Victor Chaga, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, the Pro Tools music editor, specifically outlines how they rigged up this 5-track musical system where at the press of a button, they could switch between a playback of pre-recorded music, like a mock-up of the orchestral track, a playback of an orchestral track but with a live piano over the top to help guide the performers with certain cues that they might be struggling with, a live piano playback with a click track based on a tempo map of the pre-recorded material, a live piano playing but with a few reference clicks from a click track, like having a metronome count you in but then the piano goes from there, or finally, a setting where they can let the piano player play completely free, following whatever the actors decided to do on stage. And all of this was happening in the middle of takes. One part of a number could be played to a click track, while the next would be performed alongside the piano player, following whatever the actor wanted to do, and then back again. It is stunning to read about, because it almost feels like the audio equivalent of Mythbusters on meth. Creating this absurd playback system is kind of like strapping a rocket engine onto a 3-wheeled shopping cart. Like, yeah, it is extraordinarily impressive that you managed to pull this off, and I feel really sorry for the team of, and let's be real here, top of the line audio engineers. These people are literally at the top of their field. Imagine if you had world-class cancer researchers working on a marketing campaign for the health benefits of mouthwash enemas. That's about what we're dealing with here. So when the ensemble feels like they're suddenly listening to a click track, it's because they are. Someone pushed a button and now they all have a metronome in their ears. Suddenly, we have an explanation as to why it sounds like Rebel Wilson is being left musically unsupervised on a set right here where she's messing with the tempo. If it sounds like these soloists are waiting for a click track to start in their ear, that might be because the whole set is waiting for them to do just that. And here's where a really great example of this misunderstood warped metric technique is at its absolute most destructive.
Gus is the cat at the theater door. My name, as I ought to have told you before.
I get it. It's Gandalf, and some people really like this performance, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, even if it's wrong. Just listen to that clarinet and flute. Try to follow them around in the background. It's absolutely nauseating.
Is really asparagus, but that's such a fuss to pronounce that they usually call me just Gus.
So I don't know if this is what Huber wanted or not, but I feel like now's the best time to try and explain what I think Hugh Jackman was talking about. What I think he was trying to describe was rubato. Rubato, or tempo rubato, translates to stolen time. This is what happens when a performer messes with the internal meter and rhythm of a phrase in order to make the performance seem more natural and expressive. Betty Buckley's performance of Memory is actually a really great example of this. While you're listening to this, pay attention to where her and the orchestra separate. The orchestra is keeping the beat, they're playing the melody as it's written. You might even go so far as to say they're playing a really boring version of the melody. But Betty Buckley is playing with the internal structure of the meter to make it more expressive and organic. She's moving where the rhythms and beats are in the line that she's singing to fit how she wants to express the melody. Listen again. Now compare that to Elaine Page's performance. And now compare that to Barbra Streisand.
Sprid lite glädje och överraska någon du tänker på. Alla dagar är bra dagar för att överraska någon. Det tar bara ett ögonblick att skapa en personlig present. Låt någon veta att du tänker på den. Your surprise. Spread a little happiness.
Välkommen till Folksam.
Hej, jag skulle vilja försäkra världens finaste ukulele.
Trevligt. Något mer?
Rubato is a component of phrasing, which is basically how and why you perform a piece of music the way that you do. Phrasing is the art of performance, and it's an extremely complicated subject to try and cover. In short, that's why people get doctorates in music performance. Now, there are a few things about rubato that you gotta know. You don't just speed up and slow down whenever you want. Whatever time you take, you have to give back. That's why it's called stolen time. Otherwise, people will slow down during the tricky parts, and then they'll speed up when it gets easy again. And you see this a lot in inexperienced performers. You could spot it a mile away. Like, oh, say you've got to deliver a line really quickly or something, and your diction might not be up to par. Hint, hint.
She's deeply concerned with the ways of the mice. Their behavior's not good and their manners not nice.
Deeply concerned with the ways of the mice. Their behavior's not good and their manners not nice.
So you're supposed to keep the overall structure of the piece. You can mess with the internal structures, but not the overall form. You can't be so fast or slow that you finish the chorus while the orchestra is still playing the verse. One of the ways that these performers are able to stay on track so well when they're messing with the rhythm is that they use the orchestra to keep their place. Typically, you don't want to rubato your orchestra on the fly. You don't just want to suddenly slow them down because you feel like it. If you do, everyone will speed up and slow down at a different rate, and it's a complete mess. Now let's go back to what's happening with Gus the Theater Cat.
And I suffer from palsy, which makes my paw shake. Yet I was, in my youth, quite the smartest of cats.
He's all over the place, and the orchestra is trying to keep up with him, landing the notes where he puts them. not the